and welcome to the Sustainable Enterprise Podcast, brought to you in association with Enterprise Ireland. I'm Bobby Kerr, your host for the podcast series, which will bring you the sustainability stories of Irish businesses. For this episode, I'm delighted to be joined by Liz Waters. She's the CEO of the Watershed Group. Liz, you're very welcome to the podcast.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Bobby.
Now, tell us, Liz, about the business, maybe a little bit about the history of the business, who you are and where the business has come from.
Well, the business was started in 1992 by Tom Waters, and initially it was a general packaging company. But I suppose from the outset, Tom's background and the way he looked at business was rather different. So I think that honed a strategy that has pushed us forward in innovative ways. Tom's background, he was ex-IDA, so he was very focused on both business growth and international sales and global scale. He has a background in banking. He did a master's in banking, and he worked for a short time in PE. Everything we do is a reflection of ourselves, and his background was very much in finance rather than operations. So it drove the strategy initially to acquisition and growth.
And if we talk about the products you sell, so typically, what were they? What are they?
When we started, it was general packaging around printed tape, pallet wrap, bags, all that sort of thing. And then a wonderful opportunity came in 1996 to acquire the Label Centre, which was a well-known company, a label printing company that unfortunately had gone into liquidation. So we acquired that. And that started the growth into more premium packaging, which was self-adhesive labels. And very quickly then the idea, we had some salespeople on the ground in the UK, was to acquire a company in the UK. So we acquired a company, LPS Labels, in the UK.
When was that?
In 2007.
Okay.
And we'd had one previously before that. And unfortunately, within 2 years, one of our biggest customers decided that they were relocating their packaging and production to Poland. And that was really disaster and probably a lesson to ourselves in customer concentration, because it was a significant part of the business. So we negotiated with them, and they liked us so much that they suggested we move to Poland, which of course seemed at the time to be a rather big ask. But in fact, Tom went to Poland and found a company there that was willing to sell. So we started our journey as a more international company in Poland. And the strategy then around that was to export into Germany, because it was a huge market on our doorstep, and the location of the factory is quite near the German border. But at that time, German industrialists were not as interested in dealing with companies outside of Germany and liked to source a lot of their products within Germany. So then we had a sort of a standalone German company and another job to grow that company. I took over the company within about 6 months of that company being acquired. So that was rather a journey for me.
Wow.
But since then, we've grown significantly. We're the only Irish company who, in self-adhesive labels, that ever had international sites, that ever sort of looked at it this way. And because we're family owned, we see the marvellous opportunity to grow as an independent, because there has been huge consolidation in the market and very few independents led. And I think when you are an independent company and when you're a family business, you look at things in different ways. You look at the way you invest, and the ideas that you have are in some ways different from if you're PE owned.
Sure.
So we see that as a massive advantage we have, and that innovation is very much part of our DNA because of it.
And when you say that you look at things differently, and you rightly say that you have different pressures in a family business, what about sustainability then, and where it appeared in the overall journey? When did you embark on your sustainability journey? Where is it at now? How are you getting on?
Well, I think journey is an excellent word for it, because that's exactly what it has been. I mean, there's a lot of focus on it now, but actually our journey started in 2018. We did an R&D project with Enterprise Ireland and also with Athlone Tech. And at the time, the agenda was very much driven by international multiples, particularly in the UK. and it was very linear. It was very much between the customer and the packager about we want a sustainable material. It was all around material, the substrate, which was far more simple than actually the way the thinking has evolved. We did that. It gave us huge insight into the possibilities of materials and the different products available out there. And it also gave us a great learning curve to get out in front and be a genuine partner to our customers. But it also changed our thinking a little bit because a lot of people who supply see themselves as simply suppliers, and it's quite a simple relationship. But where this pushed us was into a genuine partnership
Yeah.
where we were taking the leadership. Because when you think of it, very large companies don't have the time to be researching what's available in the packaging market. So increasingly, they are looking for leadership from their packaging companies.
Yeah.
And there's a marvelous business opportunity for those customers who can grasp that and get out in front and do the learning. In a lot of our team, we go to conferences, we visit different sites. We've collaborated with Avery Dennison and UPM, our partners. So there's a great collaboration, not only between us and our customers, but between us and our suppliers.
So there's a strong business case, is there not, to embrace sustainability?
Well, there's an enormous business case to embrace it because we had done lean manufacturing before that, and we did the Lean Plus, and the green supports that Enterprise Ireland are offering are really a very natural corollary and push on from that, because a lot of people, when they think of sustainability, they think of things that aren't measurable. And they're a little bit lost and a little bit nervous about jumping into the pond to get involved because they think, how are we going to measure this? And as production and manufacturers, everything we do is measurable. We are fixated on measurement. We're fixated on data.
Yeah.
We have enormous ERP systems. Every single thing we do every day is measured. And then when you're suddenly asked to look at sustainability, you think, how am I going to do this? And that's where the supports from Enterprise Ireland have been huge and game changing, in that when you take on board one of their consultants, you get a clear framework of how to move forward.
Sure.
It's based on science-based targets. So now it's part of the things you measure every week. You look at it in the same way. So it fits into all of your systems.
So from that perspective, then, if you approach it the way you have done, like you've approached any aspect of your business, it gets measured, it gets done, and we monitor performance.
And there's a clear strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an end to it, because I think that before, a lot of people think it's very open-ended. We started here, but where are we going to end?
Yeah.
But I think when you're measuring and then you are taking clear steps that you can measure quite clearly.
Can you give us some maybe examples across the business where you've brought in sustainable actions that you have indeed measured?
Well, absolutely. There's quite a number of them. The first one is solar. We put in solar panels. Of course, it's absolutely measurable. The savings are on your phone. You can see it. It's quite exciting for the staff. It brings people in. They get an enthusiasm that, oh, look what we've saved this week. So it's something that is a collaboration within your business with your staff as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of collaboration going on. Second thing we did was we looked at our technology and our CapEx investment, and we looked at how sustainability might or might not impact our CapEx investments into our printing technology. And one of the things we've done now, we have adopted digital technology, which is far more energy saving. There's no setup on these. That you just press and go. You can offer shorter runs, so customers don't necessarily have to order as many. So that's the second one. Also, a really interesting, which I personally took an interest in, was the AD Circular, which is Avery Dennison's circular liner recycling project. We were the first company in Ireland to get that over the line with our customers. We've onboarded a lot of Irish companies, a lot of international companies within Ireland, and that is just an absolute no-brainer. Again, a measurable project. So what it is when we send, say, you your labels, the exact amount of material is on the back. You pull your label off and it's wasted. But that waste has been going into landfill. Now what's happening is Avery Dennison provide very large boxes. You can separate it from your PP to your glassine. They'll come and collect it, and you get a carbon footprint. You have the app on your phone, and you get a carbon footprint saving
So
measure.
this is when you separate the adhesive from the piece that's left.
The liner
Yeah,
goes traditionally in the bin, that is lost, and it's pretty much the same meterage. So if you have a 5,000 roll of material, pretty much 98% of it can be captured now, particularly if the substrate that you're offering your customers has a recycled content and is also
that's
recycled.
amazing.
So it's an amazing project, and we were delighted to collaborate not only with Avery Dennison, but with so many of our customers who were so willing to take it up. And it can be done so quickly. All you have to do is accept the boxes in your warehouse, and in it goes. So large and small companies in Ireland are doing that now.
That's great. So when you think about innovation then around sustainability, what ideas do you have, thinking forward, other things that you might possibly consider?
Well, we think of it as something that is a constant learning curve. And I mean, one of the things we've always done, we were always following trends in machinery and what is the latest, most effective way of producing our packaging. But now we also see we have to keep up with the learning. What is out there that we can offer our customers? Because as I said, they are now looking for leadership from us.
Yeah.
They want to know. And those companies who will grasp that have a chance to future-proof the company. So that's what we're doing all the time. We're working very closely with Enterprise Ireland. They supported us to go to a conference in Barcelona last year. It was a 4-day conference. All the largest companies in the world are there, from Danone to Mondelez to Lidl, etc. So the learning is huge that we take back to Ireland. And there are very, very few companies. We're going for B Corp at the end of the year. We had hoped that it would be done by the end of this year. It's a little bit behind, so we hope first quarter next year. But there's only about 46 companies in Ireland that have B Corp, and there
Yeah.
are no packaging companies. So that's another first we're hoping to
And you
nail down.
mentioned certification there, and indeed
Yeah.
B Corp. It's a fantastic initiative. It really, I suppose, it validates your commitment to sustainability. It's also measured because it is a form of measurement. So you say you'll have that hopefully completed by the end of the year.
Or early next quarter.
Great. Yeah.
But it's another step on, because we have BRC grade AA. We also have HACCP. So they're very measurable accreditations as well that look at a lot of the same kind of things that B Corp look at. I suppose B Corp pushes on a little bit more in that it's more focused on your social interaction within your company and also with your community. So I suppose there's slight differences there, but all of the governance, the ethics policies, all the traceability, all that is pretty much done with BRC and HACCP. So,
Yeah. You mentioned the community there. How do you, as a business, get involved in your community?
well, that's a little bit more tricky, because before we'd always looked at it as our kind of the wider community, which is Ireland. But one of the things that the B Corp ask you to look at is your local community,
Yeah.
shrinking it in a little bit. And every year we would have chosen charities, and the staff take an interest in that, and we say, okay, this year we're giving it to whoever. But now we're looking at community endeavours. Like we have we've funded sports clubs, done things like that. We're looking at things like local homework clubs, things that are easy wins and things that really small amount of money will make a huge difference within the community, and maybe things that don't normally have a spotlight on. The very big charities often are the ones that the checks go to at the end of the year because they're out there pushing
Yeah.
and they have the marketing budgets, where a lot of the smaller projects within a community sometimes just don't get the same attention. So we're looking at those now for
Yeah.
2025.
Your own commitment to sustainability is very evident. How do you sort of, I suppose, indoctrinate or get your sustainability message right through the organization to the other 200 odd colleagues that you have?
Well, I suppose, first of all, from a production-led basis, the production team can see the cost-saving benefits. So there's a double whammy there. They understand now that sustainability means very good business and efficiencies and cost-saving benefits. And also, younger people coming in are terribly interested in saving. My own children, they're all very interested in, what bottles you're drinking out and et cetera, et cetera. So that the younger people are interested and like to be part of the project. A number of them set up the recycling within the canteens. They run that themselves, and they're like policemen and women, making sure you don't put things into the wrong box. That's but also around staff retention. I think when an organisation is proactive and has a strong strategy and strong policies around things, and policies that also aren't just evidently pushing themselves forward, but also have an interest in the community. I think that's huge at encouraging people to stay, and encouraging people to come in, because as we all know, one of the biggest challenges coming at us is that we're at full employment. So
Yeah,
we're competing all of the time for staff.
yeah, yeah. Very, very, very important. Um, Finally, then, can I ask you, Liz, about advice that you might give to other companies around embracing the sustainable journey? Given what you know now, given the journey you've been on yourself, what would you say to others?
Well, that's a really good question, because it's been asked all the time. And I think the reason it is being asked all the time is people really don't know what to do. There's a lot of companies out there who don't know how to get started. It's rather like the exam with looking at the blank page, how to get started. And Enterprise Ireland have asked me to do a few talks around at different conferences. And I'm always amazed at the amount of companies, large and small, who say, how do we get started? How do we think about this? The first thing I would say is escalate it to your senior team, because people within your company do not have the bandwidth to think about this. They're all action orientated. They're doing a task. They're task orientated. But if you get leadership from your senior team, from your CEO, that this is something we want to do, and we are presenting you with a framework, exactly the same sort of framework that we've presented you for every other KPI in your
Yeah,
business, then they understand and they know, and that's a starting point. So I would just say, talk to Enterprise Ireland, get your supports. Vital that you get consultancy, because you really can't come up with a science-based target and a possible and a framework yourself, and then get going.
yeah, yeah. Sage words indeed. Liz, thanks very much. And that brings us to the end of this episode of the Sustainable Enterprise podcast, brought to you in association with Enterprise Ireland. My very special thanks to Liz Waters, CEO of the Watershed Group. Please do continue to check out the rest of the podcast series, where we'll continue to bring the sustainable stories of Irish businesses. Thank you.